I'm bouncing between 3 laptops for my daily use, an MSI gaming notebook for PC gaming, a 14-inch ThinkPad for production, and a 2-in-1 for mobile distraction. The mobile 2-in-1 is indispensable, but the gaming and production laptops might be able to be combined into one notebook, and I think this is a promising candidate to make that happen.
Slap Tech.
This, then, is the Lenovo Legion 5i. It has many iterations, this one being available at the premier electronics emporium, Walmart, for about $1,400 US bills. For that high price, you get the Intel Core i7-14700HX, an uncapped mobile monster that clocks 20 cores and 28 threads up to 5.5 GHz and 33 megs of L3 cache to do it with. What's unique about HX CPUs is they eat as many watts as a notebook's cooling system allows, and we'll see how much performance this Legion can squeeze out of it. This CPU is mated to the currently modern Nvidia RTX 5060 GPU with 8 gigs of VRAM that's fed up to 115 watts. It comes with a 16 gig stick of DDR5 memory with an open expansion slot. Lenovo's website says it has a limit of 32 gigs, but we'll be testing that later. 2 full-sized M.2 2280 PCI Gen 4 slots will hold your data, and on top of all these bits sits a 15.1-inch OLED screen with a 16:10 aspect ratio that refreshes at up to 165 Hz and can show all the colors of the DCI P3 rainbow. Powering it all is a generous 80 watt-hour battery, and it weighs a manageable but not tossable 4.2 pounds. The AC adapter that comes with the laptop is a bulky 245-watt brick with a 6-foot umbilical cord and upgradable 3-prong from the wall cord. This notebook can also take some jolts from any USB-C adapter without a warning about being underpowered, unlike Lenovo's upper-crust ThinkPad models. Just don't expect to game on any USB-C charger. As for the battery life, this notebook houses a sizable 80 watt-hour unit. While not as large as it could be, it affords enough time for the notebook to be turned on, used, and stay on when moved from one room to the next. Internet work use goes as long as 4 hours and 45 minutes, streaming video for 3 hours, and 2D retro gaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's a purpose-built gaming notebook with no intention of trying to fool the user that it's power efficient. Lenovo's quiet mode can be employed if you want to be annoyed by the power button turning a distracting, brilliant blue, but vanilla Energy Saver will not yield different results. Being a more budget-oriented Legion notebook, it's made with budget-oriented materials. The main body is encased in plastic. It's slightly rough to drag your hand across and has an impressive, confidence-inspiring thickness. The back of the monitor is smooth aluminum and keeps very rigid. Fingerprints are readily visible behind the display, but takes a while to become apparent on the palm rest and touchpad. The keyboard keys are quickly stained, but are thankfully not coated with a reflective finish. Let's see what all those holes in the side do. On the right is the headset in, USB-A 3.2 Gen 1, webcam toggle, and a second USB-A 3.2 Gen 1. The back is where 2 vents are, HDMI 2.1, and the power hole. The left then gives us gigabit LAN, 2 USB-C 3.2 Gen 2s, one takes up to 100 watts of USB-C power and outputs DisplayPort 2.1, the other doesn't take power and outputs DisplayPort 1.4, and the third USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 port that will also charge your USB device. There's plenty of USBs and a future-proof DisplayPort 2.1 output, but no SD card reader despite there being big empty gaps on both sides. It's almost as though they moved the side vents and asked the engineer, "Hey, should we put an SD card reader there?" And the dick said, "Nah." Undressing the 15i reveals an 80 watt-hour battery that stretches across the entire body and 2 wide fans sharing a lot of heat pipe. The fan bodies seem to take up enough space to obfuscate the possibility of an SD card reader, and I'm sure that's Lenovo's story and they're sticking to it. In other news, 2 M.2 2280 slots will hold NVMe drives in both 2280 and 2242 sizes, and 2 RAM slots allow for upgradable memory. Lenovo's website and all official sources cite a 32 gig max, but I went ahead and put 64 gigs in here, and it all registers just fine. Lastly, the Wi-Fi card is also swappable. Back on top, let's talk about the keyboard. It's a limited frills, no-risk arrangement of keys with all necessary accoutrements and other accoutrements you didn't ask for. Key travel is quite long and firm, giggity, and while it does fight your fingers a little, it doesn't put up enough resistance to be annoying. The action is quiet and librarian approved for my light typing style, though heavy typists will notice how the action can be amplified by the chassis. It's possible that gently pressing a corner will not result in an actuation, but missing strokes wasn't an issue at all while typing this script. For a gaming notebook, the layout is remarkably straightforward. All the hotkeys are present and accounted for, including function lock, touchpad toggle, even calculator, and function Q for performance mode. It's got a regular numpad, including double wide 0, plus and enter keys, though they're extra thin, but that's okay, and an easy to find, easy to use set of arrow keys. The only thing it's missing is a right control, and while it does put a damper on word processing by making it more difficult to bold, underline, and italicize, there are dedicated home and in-page scrolling keys for super easy navigation and row highlighting. There are 0 deal breakers with this keyboard, and on top of that, it has 24 lighting zones and a super easy interface that you can get pretty freaky with. 6 fully configurable presets are cycled through with a lighting shortcut, and there are 10 stops for brightness. It's ridiculously intuitive, but yet you can't configure the damn power button. It's so bright, please God, make it go away. If I end up keeping this, the first thing I'm going to do is put a piece of blue tape on it, or maybe a few pieces of tape over it. Below the keyboard is a touchpad. It's large, off-center, and sensitive. It gets in the way of typing sometimes, but not all the time, and it's not terribly impressive. Clicks take a little more force than they should, and the acceleration is a bit on the clumsy side. Given the off-kilter nature of its positioning, I found myself right-clicking more often than I'd like. All in all, it's not bad, but I really wish it had physical keys. Lenovo, the patent is yours for the taking. Don't listen to the internet, listen to me. Give us physical keys on a touchpad. Please. Now to cover one of the most standout peripherals, the display. 15.1 inches is a unique size for this notebook category and is a welcomed contribution for its reduced footprint. OLED pixels are what shine through a glossy screen so as not to inhibit the DCI-P3 color accuracy. It gets comfortably dim for a pitch black room and super bright, though the reflective finish will prevent outdoor use in most cases. Viewing angles are excellent as colors distort very little at a close angle, and there's no such thing as a bad lap experience since it tilts back 178.6395 degrees, or maybe 178.6396. Let me know your best guesstimation in the comments below. As for gaming, this panel has almost no ghosting and perfectly quick latency, which is just awful because now you can't blame it when you get your ass handed to you by 12-year-olds while playing Call of Duty 32, Full Metal Fury Now, and Ryan. The refresh rate has 2 modes, 60Hz and 165, which is nice to be able to toggle between, but picky games and retro front ends will bemoan the lack of a 120 option. Maybe someday there will be a function key shortcut to toggle between the two. That would be super cool. We'll discuss later how much 165 comes in handy. On to the speakers. For being a purpose-built, serious machine, it has very unserious speakers. Average volume that can barely fill a room, and at the risk of hissing if the audio has plenty of treble. Fortunately, the only kind of audio that has plenty of treble are just video games, which most users of this notebook probably won't. Oh wait. In other news, the bass is weak and the overall output is quite tinny. They're perfectly average for notebook speakers and have maximum stereo separation. If audio is to be heard, they fit the bill, but if audio is to be enjoyed, headphones should be on hand. Here's the test of the webcam on the Legion 5i 1440p. This is an excellent lighting, and Windows audio enhancements are turned on, which is the default setting. And here's a test of the webcam with the audio enhancements that are built into Windows 11 disabled. System performance of this Legion 5i is top-notch, even with the CPU that's 2 generations old. That's because it's an HX CPU and eats as many watts as the robust cooling solution can handle. Throttling, therefore, isn't about an if, but a how high, and the answer to that is pretty damn high. It's in the same performance class as the current fastest CPUs in the notebook market, so there's no reason to pine for something faster with this CPU in play. As for the user experience, regular applications and wordsmithing can all be done without breaking a sweat, and the fans will stay whisper quiet under load with a cool lap temperature, all while performing as well as a full throttle Core Ultra 7 in this ThinkPad in Energy Saver. That's right, the lowest performance setting in this Legion 5i matches the Core Ultra 7 155H's best. And now, on to gaming. Yes sir, with honors sir. It's amazing when detail levels are set within its limits. Take Expedition 33 for example. 2x DLSS is required for a great frame rate in high details. It's attainable for now but doesn't bode well for the next generation of demanding game graphics, especially considering 3 and 4x DLSS are unusable thanks to horrendous input lag. Next year's games will need some sliders to be set to medium, but that's next year's problem. Hey, look at this performance in Doom: The Dark Ages in high details, which is functionally medium because anything higher puts this little VRAM counter into the red. You know, I originally wanted to rave about this notebook's performance, but when I actually got to writing the script, this is what came out. Welcome to the reality of PC gaming, where Nvidia's promotional benchmarks are made up and the AI frames don't matter. As for heat output, normally a gaming notebook will import and exhaust all the heat of Hades, but this Legion seems to have enacted a strict tariff on all hellfire and stays agreeably warm on a well-adorned lap. As for retro gaming, if you ignore the average speakers and poor battery life, it's the best silent, stationary you know what? Let's not ignore those things and call it like it is. Excellent performance to play any retro box, but paying premium scratch for a bona fide gaming device to play games from the early 2000s is exactly what I do most of the time, and I must be infallible, because if I'm not, then my whole YouTube channel is... For the bottom line, this notebook is a definite standout amongst the new notebook market at this particularly unique moment of PC gaming history. If I was confident that PC requirements weren't going to needlessly climb even higher next year, any notebook with an RTX 5060 would be a shoo-in. Unfortunately, we live in a broken world, and I'm sure Unreal Engine 6 is going to eat this GPU for breakfast, all for visuals that don't look like they deserve to. At least it's a smarter buy than an RTX 5070 notebook, then the internet won't mock you for only having 8 gigs of VRAM. Or if you don't mind dealing with the cooties of a used gaming notebook, you can try shooting for something with an RTX 3070 and save $500. Just saying. To address my original premise, can this notebook replace the ThinkPad P14S and MSI GE66 Raider? The MSI is certainly outclassed, with better benchmarks all around and a smaller package with a reasonable sacrifice in screen quality and RGB lighting. As for the ThinkPad, the higher performance of the Legion seems to be worth giving up the creature comforts and longer battery life. I'll miss the superior keyboard, matte screen, and the nipple mouse, but alas, the Legion feels like progress, and it's not too gaudy for the conference room. In conclusion, students get half thumbs up out of 2. It has a full keyboard and doesn't weigh like a brick, but it'll wear on your shoulder after a while, and the battery will barely last through a couple classes. Not to mention that it's a gaming notebook and your grades will most likely plummet, as distraction will reign over homework, studying, and trying to get laid. On the other hand, who needs a mate when you're pulling 165 FPS in Umamusume Pretty Derby? Casual gamers, who hopefully have a better taste than to play Umamusume, are looking at a gross extension of their budget at $1,400. It's too much machine for you anyway, you wouldn't know what to do with it. Just like me. Competitive gamers can go for it. You'll still want to play in medium-low details in Overcooked 2 to max out that 165Hz rating. Oops, I meant Overwatch 2, which is, in fact, overcooked anyway, so my statement is still valid. Just watch out for that soon-to-be obsolete warning flag. You'll be dragging it around all year, waiting for it to pounce when they announce Elden Ring 2 and its recommendation for 12 gigs of VRAM, 6.5 GHz CPU, 750cc power supply, and a holy grail. I hear the French already have one. Desktop replacement users should go for it also. Upgradable RAM, 2 M.2 slots, and plenty of CPU power for any use case. If paying too much for less performance to justify the power efficiency is what you're aiming for, this notebook is at the center of your crosshairs. Home users could actually use something like this. It's a nice big screen, not too heavy, with a good keyboard. It'll even charge just fine with a more compact USB-C brick, which is good enough for doom scrolling on YouTube and Instabook. And when you want to see what Final Fantasy XIV is all about, it'll excel at that too. This has been a review of the Lenovo Legion 5i here at Slaptech. Click like if you liked it, leave any questions down below, or rants about how I don't have more benchmark data or footage with a fancy heat gun. I enjoy reading those comments because they make my cinnamon raisin bagel with Trader Joe's organic maple butter taste even more delicious. Oh, I didn't tell you how many decibels the fan emits when playing Cyberpunk for 67 minutes? Your condescending comment was delectable. Stay tuned for playing games with this notebook video and more great budget laptop reviews coming soon, because that's what I promise and deliver occasionally. Thanks for watching, and you guys, have a good night.